What up, Laker Nation? It's your boy DTLF back with another pregame live stream as the Lakers get set to face the Chicago Bulls at 6 p.m. Pacific time. Should be a fun game. They got some hoopers over there. Kobe White, obviously Zach LaVine, who lit us up in the last time, and amongst many others. Wendell Carter Jr. will be out, so I do expect Anthony Davis and LeBron to feast in the paint since he's their best defensive big, but still, you can't underestimate this team. So looking forward to breaking down this game with you guys in just a bit here. Obviously the Lakers 12-4, undefeated on the road. I think we're 8-0 if I'm not mistaken. Looking for the 9th straight win on the road, which is already a record-breaking win in Lakers history, which is crazy, right? I think the last record was 7 in a row. So the Lakers broke that record already, and we're looking to improve upon that. But how y'all feeling today, man? Good to see you guys. You guys feel like the Lakers get an easy dub tonight, or you think it's going to be somewhat of a battle? Obviously, like I said, it's a young team. Anthony Davis returning to his hometown, so I'm expecting big things from him. And matter of fact, keys to the game, I got to start there. I got to start with my man, Anthony Davis. You got to feed the beast, man. Got to make sure that we feed him because he's hungry. And with no Wendell Carter Jr., like I mentioned, protecting the rim, I think that's something we can look forward to Anthony eating and feasting on this team early on. Remember, he's going back to his hometown. He's been struggling. He mentioned in his last interview how he's been sucking lately. His words, not mine. So, he obviously holds himself to such a high standard that he expects a lot better from himself. So I think that is the key to tonight's game. Hey, what's up, David? What's up, bro? Starting five tonight is going to be the same as every night. Same as every night. KCP, Dennis Schroeder. It's going to be LeBron. It's going to be Anthony Davis and Marc Gasol. It's going to be the same. I haven't heard anything different, so should be the same. Now, again, obviously the main key is feeding Anthony Davis, getting him going early. Like you guys called in and said last game and the post game when we were taking the phone calls. You made a great point about getting him involved a little bit more. And like I mentioned, I do feel like early in the season, Anthony Davis misses his buddy, Rajon Rondo, who used to get him set up off of pick and rolls and backdoor screen lobs, and stuff like that to get him going easily. So I think the team has to do a better job of getting him involved in the pick and roll. I would love to see LeBron James and him get that going a little bit earlier on. So that would be awesome. Am I right? Says, why is Shaq always hating? You see his awkward interview with Donovan Mitchell. Yes, I covered it in the podcast. You guys definitely should check that out. I will be posting it in the comment section. I'll be pinning it to the top. So I did release a podcast today. Also telling you guys what my favorite binge-worthy shows are to watch during the pandemic or any free time you might have. So definitely check that out, guys. If you get a chance, I will post it in the comment section after this video is done. He said, I want 40 from AD. It would be nice to get a 40 piece. We haven't seen a nice little 40 piece this year from AD yet. LeBron's been the one that's been killing. He's been having an MVP type season. So it'll be interesting to see if AD can step up his game. And, hopefully he does, because when he does, the game just opens up and it becomes easier. Remember, again, for those of you just tuning in now, Wendell Carter Jr. is out tonight, meaning that they're thinning the front line. However, that doesn't mean that we're not going to have our hands full with their perimeter guards. Kobe White is a very speedy, shifty guard who can get in the lane and wreak havoc. So we got to watch out for him. Obviously, everybody knows about the UCLA product and Zach LaVine, super athletic, jump out the gym, and he can shoot lights out from beyond the arc if you let him get it going. So I would like to see a nice little bounce back game from Dennis as well. If Dennis Schroeder could have a nice little bounce back game, I think the game becomes easier for us as well today. He said, hey, Dan, do you think Taylor will get some playing time today? He's from Chicago. I would love for him to get playing time. I think it's way overdue. He hasn't done anything wrong for the Lakers to basically give him the doghouse treatment, right? He's in the doghouse right now. But I don't know why. Obviously, when Wesley Matthews came back, all the minutes went to him. So it's apparent why Frank Vogel is favoring the veteran. But I don't think he should do that at all. He said, hey, Dan, Kuz has been really impressive this year, shutting down haters. He does it year after year, man. He's a very underrated player. I'm very thankful for Kuz, just like I am for KCP and a lot of underrated, unsung players on this team, including, obviously, Alex Caruso, fan favorite. But, yeah, it's the little things because stat-wise, it's not always going to show up after the game. Your stats aren't always going to jump off the page when you're playing for a championship team. You have to sacrifice stats to help your team be effective. But, there's games where Anthony Davis is going to be out or LeBron or both, and Kuz has stepped up and dropped nice little 30-plus point games or anything in between, right? So we know he's a very capable scorer, but what else can you bring to the team when everybody is healthy? Defense, he's been doing a better job this year. Rebounding, he's been exceptional. I love it when he's in double digits coming off the bench rebounding. He's developed a real nose for the ball and he's crashing the glass. So that's huge on Kuz's part. But bottom line is, yeah, he's I don't know why he is always a target for a lot of haters out there. They love to hate on the kid. I guess because he's young and successful. People don't like that for some reason. But he's a Laker, so we love him. He said, "Hey, he said, Dan, I don't like Kobe White. He is just a rookie." Kobe White's not a rookie. Yeah, Kobe White was a rookie last year. Yeah, he's not a rookie this year. And why don't you like him? I mean, he's very talented. Product out of North Carolina. He's always been good, man. So yeah, we got to watch out for him. We got to watch out for him for reals because he can get off. He said, Dan, greeting from the Philippines, man. I'd like Bron and KCP to try 10 threes each. Bron and KCP, huh? Well, if they're open, man, as long as they're in rhythm, if they're having a good night, sure. If not, I would prefer, to start from the paint. I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm old school, but I love high efficiency basketball. I love getting paint buckets, also rim protection and defense. But I prefer the higher efficiency basket. Threes, you live and die by those. So I'm not really looking for threes unless they're wide open and within the flow of the offense. Or if a team is hot like KCP, if a player's hot like KCP has been recently, then hey, fire it away, man. KCP has really become something for this team. He's like, I'm telling you, I told you guys in the finals, not even before the finals, in the playoffs last year, I said KCP reminds me of Rip Hamilton for the Detroit Pistons, and like a glove, he's fit that description. He said, Dan, did you ever watch Derrick Rose in his prime? I did, Randolph. He was one of my favorite players. He's my brother's favorite player when he was in his prime with the Bulls, when they had Joakim Noah, Luol Deng, Ben Gordon, Kirk Heinrich. They were great, man. And it's too bad that he was it's too bad that he got injured and tore his ACL on both knees. That pretty much but the fact that he still has a career is a testament to his hard work. D Rose continues to improve, to show skill. Obviously, he's not the same explosive player. He used to be as quick as John Morant and as explosive as Michael Jordan, but maybe not that explosive, but really explosive. And it's unfortunate that the injuries changed the course of his career. But all love for our boy. He said he likes to distribute the ball, though. He said, yeah, KCP straight pro now. KCP has been the best catch and shoot three-point shooter this year in the league thus far. I know he's rated number 3 behind Alex Caruso, and I don't know who's number 1. But KCP has become a very efficient three-point shooter. I remember when we had first built this Laker team last year, when we brought in Anthony Davis, everybody was talking smack about the Lakers not having enough three-point shooters. I knew they would come into their own. I was not concerned about that. At the end of the day, like I said, you live and you die by the three. But where you win the championships is in the paint, in the defense, the defensive end, and high efficiency basketball scoring in the paint. Bottom line, though, this Laker team is stacked. Could we improve and add another big man? Sure, we can always improve and add another big man. So it's going to be interesting to see what Rob Pelinka does moving forward once that buyout market starts opening up. I do believe we're going to have the mid-level exception to spend on a very solid free agent. So I'm looking forward to it, man. But how y'all feeling today? I feel great. I think the Lakers going to win tonight. Hopefully it's not too close of a game. That way we get to rest some of these guys, and maybe we'll get to play Taylor Horton Tucker, THT, because he's dynamite. He said, I love his confidence. He's really showing how hard he has worked on his shot. Oh, yeah. KCP's come a long way. I feel like he was always a good shooter, but now he's become a great shooter. When he was with the Detroit Pistons, I made a mixtape for him. And then when he struggled those first couple of months, everybody made fun of my little mix because they were like, oh, Dan, you were all excited for him and he's trash. They were. But, hey, game recognized game. I knew he would come in handy, man. I always liked the Detroit Piston version of KCP. It was only a matter of time before he, wet his feet with the Lakers. It's different playing for a big spotlight like Los Angeles, right? It's different playing for a big market with all the prestige and all the, all the greatness that comes with it. So a lot of criticism and and scrutinizing comes with that as well. It's a big responsibility. So, hey, Nemo, what's up, bro? He said, your package is on the way, bro. Let's go, Lake Show. Dan, you the man. Appreciate you, Nemo. So Nemo sent me, I don't know, a surprise, and I'm gonna open it live with you guys. I never open the packages you guys sent on my own. I like to share it with you guys as a token of my appreciation. So thank you, Nemo. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you, brother. He said he knows his role and comfortable now. Yes, it's amazing how also LeBron James installs that type of confidence in his teammates. He's always done it. From Boobie Gibson to Kyle Korver to anybody. James Posey, anybody who's ever played on LeBron's team has become a clutch shooter because LeBron James is the type of superstar that he'll live and die by the fact that his teammates make the shot or miss. He never blames, he never complains. He just wants you to be willing and able to shoot that shot. Shoot your shot. Hey, what up, T? How you doing? Good to see you. Good to see you. He said, Dan, maybe LeBron needs to start at point guard again so he can set AD up more. It really doesn't matter what position he starts at. LeBron plays a lot of point forward for us. If anything, I want to see more pick and rolls between those two guys. I don't think we see him enough. We see him sometimes in the fourth quarter when it's necessary, but maybe it's because they don't want to show their hand too often. But I still think it doesn't matter if we show our hand. How are you going to stop the pick and roll? And if a third defender comes over to rotate to defend those two guys, guess what? We have a wide open shooter. And this year, having wide open capable shooters, Kuzma as well, when he sets his feet, I think he's like 38% from beyond the arc. Very improved three-point shooting by the Lakers this year. And that's what comes with being a champion. Your confidence just skyrockets. Kuz's money, I don't know why you would trade him Festo. I don't know what you guys are talking about. But right now, we focus on this game. And I'm going to tell you right now, we can't come out here and just lay an egg. We got to make sure we take this team serious. Because if we allow them to play, we start playing with the lead and we allow them back into the game. This is the type of team that they get confidence. They're young, they're athletic, they're quick. They can basically make a ball game out of this. So let's hope that the Lakers come out and they take care of the basketball early on and often. He said, let's be real. Kuz is the best player born in 1995. And I say that because he's only going to get extremely better. 1995. I would have to think about that. I haven't really looked at other players that were born in 1995, but Kuz is perfect for this team. He plays his role. We have him on an affordable contract, so that's all that matters. That the fact that we have him on a good contract and he's playing to his role perfectly. He's never demanded extra minutes. He's never complained about coming off the bench. He's a perfect player to basically fit into a championship team. He plays his role. And that's what you call a perfect role player. So nothing but love for Kuz. He said, anyone other than Levine worry you tonight? I mean, you always have to look out for the Thaddeus Young types. Those guys are veterans. They can get buckets. The Stronowskis, the no-name players. You always have to look out for those because for some reason, anytime the Lakers play, those guys tend to just have a career night, right? But besides Levine, like I said, Kobe White is a very capable scorer. He's a young, hungry player. We saw what young and hungry does. I mean, Colin Sexton defeated the Nets back-to-back. Granted, the second game, Kevin Durant didn't play, but still, they still had James Harden and Kyrie. Wasn't James Harden supposed to be this MVP candidate? Yeah. So bottom line is, they kind of exposed how thin in the front line the Nets are. And I expect the Nets to make another move if they truly want to compete in the East, because 2 straight losses to the Cavs is not a good look, even though the Cavs have improved defensively, especially after making that move for Jarrett Allen. But the team that has impressed me the most, besides the Lakers, we're number 2 ranked defensively in efficiency rating right now. But the team that's number 1, you'll never believe it. If I told you starting this season that the New York Knicks would be number 1 in defense, that's how you know head coaching matters. Look at Tom Thibodeau and how he has his team, man. Tom Thibodeau's legit. I don't know why people ever question him. Obviously, yes, he does coach his team extremely hard, and sometimes he can run star players into the ground. But if he could just balance that, I think he's a very good head coach. And you can see what he's done with the New York Knicks. They're fighting for that 8th seed in the East early in the season still, but I'm rooting for them, man, because it's fun to watch. And they're number 1 defensively with Julius Randle balling out. It's been an impressive thing to watch. So shout out to them. Kudos to the Knicks, for real. And their fans who stuck beside them all the year. They finally have a decent team to watch, night in and night out. But bottom line, Lakers number 2 on the defensive end. On the offensive end, we're like top 5 right now, I think, still, if we haven't moved up or down. But we're like top 5, which is solid. I want us to move up on that end, and definitely I want us to be the best defensive rated team by the end of the season. So hopefully we continue to strive for that. And the interesting part is that there's still tons of room for improvement on the Lakers end, as far as improving on a defensive end, and we're already number 2, so that bodes really well for us. Dan, thoughts on getting Levine in the future? You know what, Carlos? If an opportunity presented itself, I love our role players very much. But if Levine becomes available, I think that's something you have to jump on it. He's super Showtime. He's so LA, LA native. I would love to bring him out here, man. I love our LA players. I love him. And he's young still and in his prime. And honestly, I have to say, looking back at that, all the draft picks that the Timberwolves had, you might argue that Zach LaVine was probably the best player, even between Karl Towns and Wiggins and all of them, because as good as Karl Towns is, he hasn't been able to really make an impact on any team, and he's not averaging more than LaVine. Now, obviously, Karl Towns is a better big, and bigs are a higher commodity. It's harder to get a good big in the league, right? That with that type of skill set. So for that reason, it's debatable, like I said. But you could argue that Zach LaVine was the best draft pick they had between Wiggins, Karl Towns, and LaVine, and they ended up trading him and Wiggins, right? Which was a little puzzling, but I think it was a bad omen. They traded LaVine because he tore his ACL, and look, it came back to bite him on the backside. Because even though they traded for D'Lo really hasn't been that impressive there with the Bulls. So that's also proof that not always when you add a player that's good buddies with your star player, that doesn't exactly mean it's going to pan out, right? Be careful what you wish for. Hey, 12-year-old student, what's up, bro? He said, sup, DTLF, just want to say much love, and this is my favorite basketball channel from a Knicks fan. You're great, man. I look up to you as a youngster. He said, I hope Anthony Davis plays like a monster today. That means a lot, brother. That means a lot. And, it's an honor, man. It's an honor to hear those kind of words from such a young soul. So I appreciate you, little man. And yeah, shout out to your Knicks. They're absolutely balling as well. Thanks for the good wishes. I reciprocate those except for when y'all play us, but I wish y'all the best as well. Thibs has done an exceptional job, and I look forward to seeing where the New York Knicks go moving forward, right? What type of trades they make, what kind of moves in the offseason. Going to be very interesting now that they actually have a direction, because for years, they were like chickens with their head chopped off. They had no direction. They didn't know how to build. They were like overpaying contracts like Joakim Noah's and stuff like that. So now they're actually getting the cap space and everything. And dare I say that the Porzingis trade actually worked for them, because they cleared cap. They used cap on a very good player like Julius Randle, and they actually got some production out of that trade. So, congratulations on that. I myself was very critical on that trade. I was like, how can you trade him for cap space? Like, it didn't make sense to me at the time, but I guess, hey, the Knicks knew he was injury prone, and they could sign somebody good, and they did. He said, Dan, what do you think of Shaq's comments on Donovan Mitchell, KD, and LeBron? Back up Mitchell. I think Shaq is hating. Yeah, I addressed it this morning on my podcast, so make sure you guys check that out if you already haven't. I will I will post it here in the comment section after this video is done, so you guys can check out the latest episode. But yeah, basically, I agree with you. I think Shaq, I don't know what's wrong with him, man, honestly. Like, he's been bullying players. It's like, you had your time, brother. You still a legend. LA will forever love you, but you got to stop, because it's cringy. It's cringy to watch, especially Shaq, trying to tear down good young players in this league. And Donovan Mitchell has his team third place in the West. Third place, only behind the Clippers and the Lakers. And for some reason, I don't know, they picked the worst time to criticize him. He's averaging 24 points, shooting 42% from beyond the arc. It's just like, he couldn't have picked a worse time to critique somebody like Donovan Mitchell. And even if they would have been struggling, it's not like Donovan has a co-star, really, like Bogdanovich. Well, like, who's the co-star there? It definitely isn't Rudy Gobert. He's just a defensive player, but I'm talking about offensively. Obviously the Lakers have AD and LeBron to carry the load offensively and defensively. So, he said, which game you looking forward to the most next week? The Cavs on Monday, the 76ers on Wednesday, or the Celtics on Saturday? The last two you just mentioned, the Sixers and the Celtics. Why? Sixers number 1 in the East. That's another great test for the Lakers. If we pass that, I'll be extremely happy. And then obviously Boston is a great test, because they have a young, hungry team with a lot of talent. They're one of the top teams in the East. So both of those games, the Cavs one, we should win, even though they did improve with Jared Allen. Look, they're deep in the front end, so they might look to kill us in the paint. They have Drummond, Jared Allen, Larry Nance Jr., guys who can actually wreak havoc in the paint. So that's another good test for the Lakers. So all three of those games are going to be great, and we're going to cover them right here on this very channel, both pre and post game. So if you guys already haven't, please consider hitting that sub button. He said, Dan, if we were to get a big by the deadline, who would you go for from who's available? Not a lot of bigs are available right now, Carlos. So I'll get back to you on that question once they do become available. Because right now, people are just mentioning the same thing. Hassan Whiteside, if they cut him off. We don't even know they're going to cut him yet. So we can't even mention those type of names yet. Now, let's see who gets cut. And let's see, when the buyout market opens up, that's going to be a lot of content for me to really shoot your guys' way. And I will be covering it, I promise. He said Knicks improvement is good all around to the NBA. Yes, the Knicks and the Lakers, two of the better franchises that are it's better when those two teams are good. And if for some miracle the Knicks are able to make the playoffs, and obviously the Lakers are going to be there, the NBA ratings are just going to skyrocket because Knicks fans are just as loyal as Laker fans. It's probably the main two fan bases that I could think of that stick with their team through thick and thin. I'm probably sure I missed a couple of them. There's a couple of other ones, obviously, but those are the ones that just come to my mind off the top. He said, hey, Dan, I love the way you're fixing up your crib. Thanks, Don. Appreciate it, bro. Hey, hard work pays off. I know it's a cliche, but always make sure that you put in the work, and there's going to be tons of benefits in the back end. Now, I don't know if you guys want me to open up the phone lines for the post-game recap, or if you guys just want me to focus on the comments for today. I could do either or, man. Either one will be perfect. Just let me know in the comment section when this video posts up, or on Twitter if you guys want me to just, and whatever you guys vote the most, that's what I'm going to do. If you guys do want to call me in, I'll definitely shoot out the number, and I'll take phone calls on the post-game recap. So make sure you guys tune in. He said, High on Hoops is live streaming. It's great. Okay, we got somebody promoting themselves in here. He said, Shaq, the TNT are the most boring NBA show. He said, I just wait for the game to begin. He said, Kenny and Ernie are the only two worth watching, listening on that show. Well, I don't know. I won't say that. They're very entertaining. Now, they always say some things that you could never agree with, right? But, yeah, if you spam the channel, bro, I'm going to have to block you. Sorry. I hate to do it, but I got to do it. He said, Dan, apparently you haven't seen Sexton play on the Cavaliers. That guy is a stone cold killer. You have to watch them play. They're a really good team now. You know what, Brian? Apparently I have watched them. Matter of fact, if you don't follow me on Twitter, make sure you do, because I've been covering that on Twitter. Colin Sexton killed the Nets. I mean, I just mentioned him earlier. So it's not that I don't think he's a stone cold killer. It's just that I don't think those two games will be able to repeat themselves versus our Lakers, who are a much better defensive team than the Brooklyn Nets. So that's the reason I didn't highlight that game over the other two. The other two, they're more well-rounded. Yes, I like the Cleveland young talent. I know exactly who Colin Sexton is. There's not a single NBA player that you can tell me of that I haven't already heard of, man. I'm a diehard NBA fan. But I will say this. It is a good little test. Obviously, they have some interior presence as well. Not just Colin Sexton, but they have that three-headed monster in the paint. So that's going to be a little bit a little bit of a load to take care of. But bottom line is, I still believe that obviously the Sixers and the Celtics are better teams and better tests for the Lakers, even though, like you said, they have improved. Hey, how you doing, Tamara? Good to see you. Good to see you. Dan, you watching the fight? I'm going to be tuning in and out. Obviously, I'm a Laker fan first. But, yeah, I want to see Conor McGregor, man. I want to see the comeback. I hope Dustin is able to put up a fight at least. It should be fun. If you guys haven't heard, McGregor is back tonight. So UFC, man, that's where it's at, 52-57. Donovan Mitchell is doing all he can. Shaq looks small, as big as he is. He said, criticizing young, excellent players. I'm a big fan of Donovan Mitchell's. I truly think he has Mamba mentality. Obviously, he's not as good as Mamba. That's not what Mamba mentality is. It just means that for certain games, they really step up their game, and they're really clutch players with a killer instinct. And so I think Donovan Mitchell has that it factor that they don't think that he has. It's just that the Jazz aren't good enough. Look, the West is hard. It's tough. You got teams like Denver, who dominated last season, down in the standings right now. Granted, it's early. They've dealt with COVID, obviously. and also they lost players in the offseason. But bottom line is the West is extremely hard right now. So we got to make sure that, you keep your head down, just keep tucking away. Tucking away. He said Carlos, especially Weber. Look, bottom line, guys, Lakers tonight. Keys to the real quick rundown to the keys to the match before I get off here and go set up for the game. So feed Anthony Davis early on. Obviously, LeBron do what LeBron does best. I look for Dennis Schroeder to hopefully bounce back and have a much better game tonight. And on the defensive end, we got to make sure we play the passing lanes right. We shouldn't over gamble because they have some slashers that'll get to the rim and finish with the best of them in the league. That's how good they are. And then obviously we got to make sure we don't turn the ball over and just put this team away hopefully early, because if you let them stay in the game, they can make this a game, and it'll be interesting. He said, Dan, what are you having for dinner? I need ideas. Cheeseburgers. Yes, I asked my girl if she could cook me some cheeseburgers. Hadn't had them since the wisdom tooth got pulled out, and I don't really like to eat too much out. I get tired of eating the same stuff. So some homemade burgers, man. You can't go wrong with the homemade burgers with the Angus beef. I'm looking forward to it. Shout out my girlfriend. She be cooking for me from time to time, so I do appreciate that. He said, yo, DTLF, I heard Kyrie Irving isn't happy with Brooklyn because of Harden. Would Laker Nation welcome Kyrie with open arms? Y'all know how I feel about Kyrie Irving. I love Kyrie Irving, the player. However, all that baggage with him, when what he's doing off the court and not wanting to play and not accepting certain coaches and stuff like that, I'm not sure if he's the right player for us. We're a championship team. We're set with Dennis. There's no egos there. And so we'll see. We'll see what happens. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. I appreciate you guys, man. Make sure y'all smash that like button on your way out. We got 207 views in here. So I want to see 207 likes. That's the goal. But thank you guys so much. Appreciate it. I'll catch you guys right here for that post-game recap. Make sure you guys stay tuned. And